People coming up now realizing it's Harry.
Yeah, he remembers. Do you know his name? Because I don't want to try it. I don't.
Daedalus Diggle.
That sounds good.
Good job. But yeah, he remembers him.
He's happy that Harry remembered who he was.
Yeah.
Remembered him at all.
Yeah. And Doris Crockford keeps coming back.
It's that aunt you avoid at Christmas.
Yeah. who doesn't have anything to really say. Just, hi, how are you? And then stares at you for entirely too long until you walk away and then come back again.
Oh, look, a wall.
Yeah. And then we meet Professor Quirrell for the first time.
Weird dude.
Yeah.
He's got a stutter. It's not his fault.
And he seems pretty terrified of, like, everything.
A jittery guy.
Yeah. He teaches defense against the dark arts. And he twitches a lot. He met some vampires in the Black Forest, and he had some trouble with a hag, according to Hagrid. Basically, Quirrell is a jittery fuck. And Harry is kind of just glad for the conversation to be over once it's over, because
it's a little crazy meeting a bunch of people who are crazy about you, and you don't even know about yourself, and not really getting it.
So Hagrid says goodbye to everybody, and they get out of there. Out back behind the bar, Hagrid starts counting bricks in the wall behind the bar, and this little courtyard with trash cans becomes the entryway to Diagon Alley. 3 up and 2 across, and he does 3 taps on the wall.
With his umbrella.
With his umbrella. And the brick wriggled. I like that word. That's all I have to say about that. I just like that word.
It wriggled.
And then the archway opens up to a cobbled street that twisted and turned out of sight. And we're in Diagon Alley. Yay! The nearest shop that Harry sees is cauldrons, all sizes. And Hagrid is like, ah, man, you gotta get your money. They get to Gringotts. And there's a goblin standing out front in a uniform of scarlet and gold. The words engraved upon it, "Enter, stranger, but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. For those who take but do not earn must pay dearly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been warned, beware of finding more than treasure there."
It just sounds so magical.
I love it so much.
Right.
That's not in the movie.
So then they get up to the goblin bank teller, if you will.
And then Hagrid looks in his gross pockets for the key.
He is the keeper of keys.
You would think that you would keep them better then?
I'm going to make a note that looking for the keys, he empties his pocket out and pulls a handful of dog biscuits.
That's a little gross.
And they're moldy dog biscuits. They're not even regular dog biscuits.
But why would he have dog biscuits?
I don't know. He's got a ton of really weird shit.
Continuing.
Gives it to the goblin.
And the goblin's like, yep, everything's in order. Griphook comes to bring them to the vaults. They open the door, and Harry expects more marble. But there's not. It's a stone passageway with burning torches and railway tracks on the floor going steeply downward. And they get a cart, they hop in, and they're like going for a ride.
It also says that Hagrid gets car sick when Harry is talking to him on the way down.
I feel him.
Why does Hagrid get car sick when he can fly around? What would make him car sick?
I'm on the same page as Hagrid here. I'm going to defend him in this moment because as a passenger in a vehicle, I will get sicker than a dog. But if I'm driving, totally fine. It's making him woozy.
He does ask, can we go slower? And Griphook's like, 1 speed only, dude. And it does imply that they're like whipping the fuck around. Okay?
When we went to Universal Studios and rode the Gringotts ride, holy fuck. And that is a ride, baby.
I got motion sickness on that ride.
You can totally believe how they got sick. If that was in real life, oh, forget it, man. That would be too much for anybody to handle if that was for real.
There's a hack for getting around the motion sickness. You just gotta shut your eyes on the ride. It's video screen. But yeah, then we get to Harry's vault.
And Harry sees the amount of money that was left for him. He's in complete awe.
Yeah.
Him and Hagrid go in and get a bag full as Hagrid explains to him what each one is and how much each coin costs. So Hagrid goes in, gets a little package out of there, stuffs it in his shirt or his coat, and gets back in. And then they're back off, headed to buy all of Harry's stuff.
So, once they get out of Gringotts, Hagrid is like, you should probably go get your robes. And, if you're fine with it, I am gonna go pop over to the pub and get a drink, because I feel like crap, basically. So, Harry goes to Madame Malkin's by himself. And there's another boy being fitted at the same time who asks if Harry is going to Hogwarts too.
Where did Hagrid just go?
Leaky Cauldron.
Right, to get a drink. Didn't he just tell a guy, like on this very same trip, that he couldn't have a drink because he's on Hogwarts business?
Yep.
And they visit a couple of places, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to change my mind. Go ahead, kid, you're on your own. And he goes to have a drink at the bar.
Yep.
I just wanted to point out that he said once that he couldn't, and then it won him over, and he decided, I'm going to go get a drink.
It's justified. I don't feel great.
I thought that was funny, but
yeah, it is. So then the boy starts asking Harry a bunch of questions that Harry can't answer about Quidditch and brooms and houses, and Harry feels stupid. And then the boy sees Hagrid, and he starts talking some shit about Hagrid, about how he's a savage. He lives in a hut. He gets drunk, and he, sets his bed on fire on accident all the time. And Harry just starts liking this kid less and less as he stands there.
Says he reminds him of Dudley.
Yeah.
Still an asshole.
Just another shitty person.
It just gets worse. Harry stands up for Hagrid. He's like, I think he's brilliant.
Still gonna defend him.
Yeah. Harry just met this guy last night, and he's like, he's brilliant. I don't give a shit. Fuck you, kid. And Harry is not impressed. And then I think it's kind of funny because the lady's like, all right, sweetie, all done. And Harry finishes before this kid. I don't know what the boy was having done in there, but he was there before Harry got there, and he was there after Harry got there.
Doesn't he ask him what his surname is?
Yeah, he's asking him, what's your surname anyway? But Harry doesn't get a chance to answer. Is like, well, you're done. So, on to the next kid. And, she's busy. She's got shit to do. Which I think Harry's kind of, happy about. Great, now I don't got to talk to this asshole anymore.
Yeah. And then after Harry takes off, he meets up with Hagrid outside, who has ice cream for him.
Yummy.
I want to add that, chocolate and raspberry with chopped nuts. Hagrid's ice cream game is on point.
That is true.
That sounds delicious.
So Harry asks Hagrid about what the boy was talking about. And Hagrid says that the boy grew up hearing Harry's name, and if he knew who you were, he wouldn't be saying the shit he was saying to you. So just calm down. And that some of the best wizards he ever knew were the only ones with magic in a long line of muggles. So the kid's just talking out his ass. Stuff that he's heard at home, probably.
So then Harry starts asking a few more questions. He wanted to know what Slytherin and Hufflepuff were. And Hagrid tells him there's school houses. There's 4. And Hagrid makes the comment, everyone says Hufflepuff are a lot of duffers. And then Harry kind of is like, well, I bet I'm a Hufflepuff.
I do want to say that so far we've heard Hufflepuff's name twice, and it's been, knocked down by people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that forms the reader's opinion of Hufflepuff. We can get into that more a little bit later. I just wanted to throw that out there.
He does say, though, better Hufflepuff than Slytherin. And he says there's not a single witch or wizard who went bad who wasn't in Slytherin. And he says, who was one.
And Harry's like, oh my god, he went to this school?
And Hagrid says years and years ago.
And then they move on to buying books.
Kind of ends the conversation for them a little bit.
Yeah. They go to Flourish and Blotts, and there's books large as paving stones with leather binding them, and silk-bound books as small as stamps.
I find it absolutely hilarious that he says he was trying to find out how to curse Dudley. It's just, yes, a little bit.
I mean, I don't blame him. I probably would look up some doozies.
Well, he's taking in all this information and learning all of this stuff and trying to put some use to it, you know?
Yeah, I don't blame him. That's probably one of the first things I would think of, too. Like, revenge. And then Hagrid's like, well, that's a good idea, but you're not allowed to use magic in the Muggle world, and you need to learn a little bit more before you can do that shit anyways. So, moving on.
So they're going over his list, getting a few tidbits here and there, and they've pretty much just got his wand left, and Hagrid wants to get him a birthday present. So he tells him he's going to get him his animal, and he says not a toad. Toads went out of fashion years ago, which I think is funny, and we will get to that later. And he says that all the kids want owls. They're useful. They carry your mail and everything.
Cats make Hagrid sneeze, and so that's why he doesn't like cats. And he will get Harry an owl because they're useful. But I don't see a use for toads or cats either.
Yeah, I really don't either. I get the owl thing.
Yeah, so I don't know what other uses toads or cats could have. But so far, we haven't been told that there are any. 20 minutes later, they leave the Owl Emporium, and Harry has a snowy owl in a large cage, and he's, like, stammering his thanks, just like Quirrell was, and he's stammering his thanks to Hagrid all about it, because he just can't believe he's gotten all this stuff today, I don't think. It's gotta be hard walking around with all this stuff that they've bought so far.
I ponder what they're doing with all this crap, because I get a couple bags at the mall, and I'm like, what am I doing?
They're carrying a fucking cauldron and an owl cage on top
right.
of
Clothes and
books.
shiz.
Yeah, just saying. Just throwing that out there, guys. That's a lot of shit. Hagrid is fine with buying him his owl because he knows he probably hasn't had a whole lot of presents from the Dursleys for his birthdays ever, which we know to be true.
Mm-hmm.
So the last place that they need to go is Ollivander's, the only place for wands. It's the best place to go. Harry has been looking forward to this, and the shop is a narrow and shabby shop with peeling gold letters over the door reading Ollivander's, makers of fine wands since 382 BC. And a single wand sits in the dusty window on a faded purple cushion. The back of Harry's neck prickled, because the very dust and silence seemed to tingle with secret magic inside the shop.
I kind of picture it like a library. It's kind of quiet, like an old-style library. Dusty books kind of here and there, but there's a reverence there. And I think that's kind of the same place as Ollivander's for Harry. He goes in there and there's like it's special.
Yeah. And while he's standing there, an old man with wide, pale eyes that shine like moons says, "Good afternoon," and startles Harry and Hagrid. He calls Harry by his name and says he thought he would be seeing him soon. Ollivander does say the wand chooses the wizard.
Interesting.
So it's not something you can control. And Ollivander gets way too close, because this whole time he's like slowly creeping in to him.
A little close for comfort, yeah.
And yeah, he's slowly creeping into him, and he actually at one point they're nose to nose, and then he actually touches Harry's scar, and it's all weird. And he says, "I sold the wand that did it." So then Harry's getting measured by the magic measuring tape, and Ollivander is explaining wand cores to him about how unicorn hairs and phoenix tail feathers and heartstrings of dragons are inside all of the wands. And no two wands are the same, just like no